The American President Donald Trump has delayed a portion of the tariffs imposed on Canada and Mexico. The decision comes after the financial markets reacted negatively to the sweeping tariffs of up to 25% that took effect earlier in the week. But Trump says that he's not even looking at the markets at the moment.
There were no delays at all. No, nothing to do with the market. I'm not even looking at the market because long term, the United States will be very strong with what's happening here. Now, these are countries and companies, foreign companies, that have been ripping us off, and no president did anything about it until I came along, and then I did a lot about it.
Now, despite the delay, the White House confirmed that about 62% of the Canadian imports and nearly half of the Mexican imports will still be subject to levies, mainly on energy products, at a lower 10% rate. The suspension will last until the 2nd of April, when Trump has warned that the new reciprocal tariffs could be imposed for the auto sector. The temporary pause brings some relief as North American supply chains rely heavily on the cross-border trade under the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement. Now, automakers Ford, General Motors and Stellantis had pushed for an exemption, warning that tariffs could in fact disrupt production and raise costs.
It basically makes it more fair for our car manufacturers during the short-term period before April 2nd. April 2nd is a little bit different. That will be much more significant. But during this interim period between now and April 2nd, this makes it much more favorable for our American car manufacturers.
The tariff dispute unfolds as the U.S. trade deficit has surged to about 34% in January. This marks the largest monthly trade gap on record since 1992. The surge was driven by a 10% increase in imports. The biggest import increase was seen in industrial goods and consumer products, including in metal-based items. Now, experts say that businesses are accelerating purchases ahead of the anticipated tariffs. Meanwhile, the stock market remains very volatile. Despite Trump's partial rollback, Wall Street has extended losses. The analysts warned that prolonged trade uncertainty could, of course, dampen the business confidence and also weigh in on economic growth. The economists are also debating the inflationary risk of Trump's tariff strategy, while the U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent insists that price increases would be temporary. The analysts have warned that higher costs for imported goods could add to inflation pressures, and this can potentially complicate the Federal Reserve's 2% targets. Now, Trump's move has followed discussions with the Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum, where he cited progress on immigration and drug enforcement. However, tensions with the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau have remained pretty high, with Trudeau warning that trade conflicts with Washington will persist for the foreseeable future.
I can confirm that we will continue to be in a trade war that was launched by the United States for the foreseeable future. So Canadians should continue to buy Canadian, continue to stand up for each other. But we are trying to reduce the areas and the impact that these tariffs that the Americans are bringing in will have on Canadian workers.
The Canadian government, in response to the tariff pause, has suspended its planned $125 billion countermeasures, but maintains its demand for full tariff removal. Meanwhile, China, another key target of Trump's trade policies, has dismissed the U.S. accusations about its role in the fentanyl trade, calling tariffs an ineffective solution to the issue. So as the 2nd of April deadline approaches, businesses and policymakers are bracing for the next round of potential trade actions, with uncertainty looming over global supply chains and economic stability. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.